Like, it'd be better to not do YouTube because then you could work your day job and get home and just chill and watch Netflix. It's the reach. It's the upward aim. It's the going for more than most go for. What does the future hold? Is this going to work out? Is my niche going to be irrelevant in the future? Welcome to YouTube. I will choose productive activities over endless scrolling. I will embrace the uphill climb. I will remember that I am enough. Trying to balance YouTube, work, personal life, and family all at once is incredibly challenging. And in this episode of the Think Media podcast, this is kind of going to be like a therapy session, I think. And I hope that this is refreshing for your soul. Because in part one, we're going to be talking about the 6 trials that every content creator must endure on the journey to success. And then in part 2, I want to talk about the Content Creator Manifesto, resolutions for sharpening your focus and rekindling your passion. Now, today's episode is brought to you by the tube1kchallenge.com. We actually have a free 5-day event coming up. Every single day, you're going to learn something and do something. This will challenge you to take action. Lots of tech and software giveaways. So if you haven't registered for that and you want to learn more about it, there's a link in the show notes, or you can go to tube1kchallenge.com. But let's dive into this episode. Are you feeling a little bit tired? Do you feel a little bit overwhelmed with all of the different things to do and to learn? Do you feel a little anxious about trying to get videos posted and feeling like you can't keep up with the competition? Do you feel frustrated and even disappointed with slow growth? If you feel any of those things, welcome to YouTube. And let me just encourage you, you are not alone. And I actually want to talk about these 6 trials and 6 challenges that every content creator must endure and overcome. But really start with a story of where I learned these, because, today Think Media is a team, and we've been very blessed with success, not just across multiple different YouTube channels, but scaling into different types of online business. But of course, I didn't start there. I started at 0. I started juggling multiple responsibilities. And really, I started YouTube personally after doing it a few years for my local church in around 2009. And at that time, I was waiting tables at Red Robin 20, 30 hours a week. I was running a small freelance video business, trying to film wedding videos and small business videos. So I was working 40 hours plus on work, AKA day job. And then, dream job, side hustle was YouTube. On top of that, my wife and I would be volunteering and serving in our local church. It was set up and tear down on Sundays. So I would close Red Robin Saturday night, wake up the next day and, set up the church super early and the video cameras and all this stuff to film. And it was a lot. And in that season, my wife and I were kind of dividing the work amongst, she did handle a lot of details of our life and the checkbook and those types of things, paying the bills has always really been the administrative strength. So that teamwork was important in this season. But in terms of YouTube, it was plan the videos, shoot the videos, do the thumbnails, and try to muster up the energy to get this done. So I really learned about the pain points and the challenges, right? That of course we all go through. And if you feel like, man, this thing is brutal and I just want to quit, and sometimes I want to throw in the towel, you're not alone. I think that even intermediate and successful creators probably think that every other day, because there's just a lot of an emotional roller coaster that comes with this, which kind of brings us to the 6 trials every content creator must endure. And then in part 2, I actually hope to do something new on the podcast we've never done before and really share with you a content creator manifesto, some resolutions to really help you endure and maybe stay encouraged if you need some encouragement right now and maybe feel a little bit discouraged. But here's the 6 trials you got to overcome as a content creator. Number 1, fatigue and lack of energy. The truth is, when you're in the side hustle season, it's kind of, in a way, the worst season. Like, it'd be better to not do YouTube because then you could work your day job for 40 hours or whatever and get home and just chill and watch Netflix, like some well-deserved rest and relaxation. Now, you might have kids and you're like, I don't even have time to do that. I get it. But ultimately, what's challenging, right, is being physically and mentally drained after a full day work, right? So to find the energy and motivation to keep going is something to be aware of. So if I want to encourage you not to be hard on yourself. Like, the lack of energy and the fatigue in that season where you're stretched between multiple things is multiplied. Of course, being a full-time creator or full-time business owner comes with its own lack of energy and fatigue, but there's no doubt about it. When you literally have multiple full-time things, it's an extra level of pressure. Number two is discouragement from slow growth. Do you feel disheartened by the slow progress and lack of immediate results? That's true for most creators, especially when you post your first few videos. Do you compare yourself to other creators? Maybe you feel like other people are growing faster than you. Even if you objectively observe their content, you're like, what is it? My thumbnails are better, my content is better. And you're not even just, delusional. You're actually like, I don't get it. Like, this is, who knows? They might have had timing, luck, topic, title, one video popped off. You don't really know. But again, comparison is the thief of joy. It's ultimately not going to be helpful. Here's what I want to just talk about. It's a trial. Enduring discouragement and slow growth is part of the process. And along with that comes questioning the worth of the time and effort invested in your side hustle. Because you might be thinking, should I do a different side hustle? Should I try a different social platform? Should I try a different online business opportunity? Should I drive Uber Eats? Should I drive Uber? What else could I be doing with this time? Or could I just be relaxing? Great things are tough. Great things take time and sacrifice and patience. And so the endurance of discouragement and slow growth is part of the process. Number three is uncertainty and the fear of failure. What does the future hold? Is this going to work out? Is the market going to change? Is the economy going to crash? Is my niche going to be irrelevant in the future? Maybe you're struggling with self-doubt, just general uncertainty. If this side hustle is going to be worth pursuing. And maybe you also have fear of success. And that might surprise you because you go like, I want to go full time. But why would anyone have fear of success? Well, I know that sometimes spouses and partners think, what if I get successful and how's that going to affect my relationship with my kids? What if I get successful? How's that going to affect my relationship with money or materialism or different things? Like, these are different fears. We're talking about trials and challenges that you got to overcome. And this is something that you might be carrying. And maybe you've never heard a video or a podcast like this to process through some of these things. I don't think this stuff gets talked about enough. And that brings us to number four, feeling overwhelmed and unable to give 100%. Because it's not only just overwhelming with all the things to do, but your full-time job by definition is a full-time job. So then your personal life is also, you're a full-time dad. Now, I know you might have divided up the roles and responsibilities, but you're also maybe full-time as a friend or a mentor. And then it's a side hustle, so it's extra time, but you're trying to give 100% to your side hustle, at least with the time you have dedicated. So there's a real pressure, finding the mental space, the not just mental energy, but the emotional energy to show up on camera and to deliver and to show up, which can make you feel guilty even. And I think guilt's a real thing we should consider processing here, because you feel torn when you don't give 100%. And my encouragement is to give yourself grace, because you only have so many hours in a day. So when you do your best at work and do your best with your family, and when you're building your side hustle for a brighter future for you, your legacy, your kids, your vision, your goals, your dream, like, you're going above and beyond, because you're not just going home and watching Netflix. Well, maybe some days you are and you need that. You got to rest. But you are stretching when most people are content and maybe settle without a side hustle. So that's a real feeling. And I just want to create space for you in this podcast. Maybe process your emotions a little bit, let your emotions out a little bit. Number five is feeling disadvantaged compared to full-time creators. So we're talking about how hard the side hustle season is. And I think part two will get better before it gets worse. But maybe you're like, John, you're just painting the picture of how brutal this is, for sure. And it's so hard because not only are you building a side hustle, but growth is slow, but you're also trying to compete with people who get to work at this full time and probably have more financial resources. They've got more energy to devote just to this. So that feeling of unfairness and frustration is real. At the perceived advantages, because we don't know for sure what anybody else is really going for. Of course, they might have more money, but we don't know if they've got illness or challenge or their home life is in shambles or all these different things. Nevertheless, their time, their resources, their opportunities, their open doors, they've got so much more momentum. They're so far ahead. So struggling to compete with full-time creators in terms of their output and the engagement they're getting, and maybe feeling the pressure to achieve the same amount of success they have, or somebody else that got their silver play button or got to some goal earlier. Just want to create space for you to feel that frustration and to really understand you're not alone. Again, whether it's me, whether it's our Think Media coaches, whether it's your peers, whether it's the most successful YouTuber you love and watch, everyone's had a different story, but everyone did start at zero. And these are almost like bosses you have to defeat on the game of YouTube at the different levels, final bosses. These are trials that every content creator must endure. And I think when we can process some of these emotions and feelings, then we can get into a place where I hope by the end of this podcast, you're like, I'm ready to go kick butt and just to keep going and not quit, to summon another level of resolve and passion and focus and lean in again, which brings us to number 6 before we get into part 2, where we really talk about some resolutions I think that will be helpful for these challenges. And number 6 is the pressure and weight of expectations. So you might be feeling pressure to succeed and prove something to yourself, maybe to prove something to others. I know for me, a big motivation for me has trying to prove the haters wrong, whether real or perceived haters. And I'm not talking about YouTube trolls. I'm talking about like, I wasn't popular in high school. I'm talking about like insecurity, especially back at Arlington High School, go Eagles. When I played football, I sucked so bad. So I wasn't like a star athlete. I was horrible at sports. I wasn't particularly good grades. And I wasn't particularly able to find where I fit in at school. And so I sort of just felt kind of like an outcast. And I sort of felt like, what do I have going for me? And of course, that's just negative. And I'm an emo teenager at this point, listening to Nirvana and Dashboard Confessional and other, emo bands. But what are we talking about? Like, you might just have these pressures that you're applying to yourself, or you have people around you, real or imagined. The pressure is real. The weight of expectations is real. And then the weight of expectations from family and friends. And again, perceived or real. Maybe it's, is this worth your time? Why don't you do something else with your time? Why don't you go, fix the broken fence in the backyard? Why don't you, invest in a different side hustle? Why don't you go drive Uber instead of this? Because you just got monetized, but you made $4 and cool, you got an affiliate sale, but that was $7. Like, that's really not going to help us. The slow growth, right? The comparison to other creators, the feeling overwhelmed, the fear of failure, the slow growth, the lack of energy, and the fatigue. Sean, you're painting this like this is the worst podcast of all time. I just realized like how tough this is. Again, I want to create space first, that this stuff is just real, and that it's an emotional roller coaster. There are highs and lows that come with side hustles in general, and with YouTube. When a video is 10 out of 10, meaning the worst out of your last 10, it's like your whole heart sinks. When it's 1 out of 10, you get the biggest dopamine rush of your whole life. And so the highs and lows are insane. It's like you're up 1 week, down the next week. I just want to encourage you and create some space that I hope you feel maybe seen and that you're not alone. And we do have some solutions. I want to talk about the Content Creator Manifesto and actually do something we've never done before and really read 17 resolutions for sharpening your focus and rekindling your passion on YouTube. If you feel like giving up, you feel burnt out, you feel like you want to quit, I really believe this will be an encouragement to you. I also want to give you practical tools, which one of those things is our challenge. We're going to do a 5-day challenge, which we'll talk about the mindset and the heart set, and also the tips and tools for getting your first or next 1,000 subscribers and how to generate your first $1,000 from multiple different income streams that you could choose that best fit your channel. Lots of giveaways, lots of cool stuff happening. There will be replays. It happens live every day, once a day for 5 days during the week. So you might have your day job and you can't be there, but certainly you could block time after work every day to watch the sessions. So I want to encourage you, if that sounds interesting to you, we're doing a 5-day YouTube 1K challenge. And that's at tube1kchallenge.com, or there's a link in the description down below. But let's get into these 17 resolutions for sharpening your focus and rekindling your passion. This is the Content Creator Manifesto. And my hope is that this will be like words of life into your spirit. So here we go. Number 1, I will focus on what I can control today. Action is the antidote to worry and to overthinking. I will remember that I am enough. This is my race, so it's my pace, and comparison is the thief of joy. I will choose productive activities over endless scrolling. I'm going to rest when I need, but I'm going to keep moving forward. I will celebrate baby steps. One video, one skill, 1% better with every upload. I will reconnect with my purpose when I am tired. Remember my why, my audience, and my goals. I will breathe and make a simple plan when I feel overwhelmed. I will give myself grace and not guilt. I will be resourceful, not resentful. I will maximize my time and my talents, no matter how small. I will refuse to let pressure or expectations dictate my worth. My journey is valid regardless of others. I will acknowledge my emotions, but not be ruled by them. My feelings are indicators, but not dictators of my actions. I will embrace the uphill climb. Success demands sacrifice, resilience, and unwavering passion. I will celebrate the community I'm building. Connections matter more than views. I will learn from every upload, good or bad. I will cultivate a growth mindset and learn to see opportunities in every obstacle. I will prioritize my well-being and health. I will give back and support fellow creators because lifting others lifts me too. I will remember that God has woven greatness into my DNA. He has given me gifts, talents, and abilities, and His grace is sufficient for today's challenges. I will seek first to honor God and serve others with my content. I will refuse to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will take care of itself. I will enjoy the journey and cultivate gratitude, and I will focus on enjoying the journey and not just reaching the destination. Friend, I hope that those 17 resolutions are an encouragement to you and maybe something you want to rewind and listen to again. And my whole goal in this episode was that you would feel seen and that you would feel that you're not alone and that you'd have some motivation to keep going on your journey of content creation. It is hard. It's brutal. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to give up. You're going to get bruises and cuts and scars along the way. It's the reach. It's the upward aim. It's the going for more than most go for. A lot of people settle, but if you're listening this far into this episode, you don't seem like a settler. You seem like someone who takes territory, who's on offense, who's pushing for bigger, pushing for greatness, reaching for more for you, your family, and what you feel like your God-given calling is. And I just want you to know I'm rooting for you. I'm here for you. My team, this podcast, I hope it's a great resource. And if you got value out of this episode, maybe share it, like it, rate it, review it, wherever you listen. And I can't wait to connect with you in a future episode where we're going to be talking about some practical tools for balancing part-time and full-time work. And this was kind of the emotional side, but subscribe, stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about some actual like time management and productivity tips for balancing the side hustle with your day job and life's responsibilities. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and I can't wait for connecting with you in a future episode. If you enjoyed this content and want to take your YouTube channel to the next level, just click or tap the link on the screen or go to tube1kchallenge.com to join our next live YouTube challenge. You'll learn our best tips and strategies that are working here at Think Media, and I think you'll love it.